Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Eric.
明
Okay,
日です
live.
ね。Did you see Rosie
Okay,
hiding?
could you please mute yourselves? You get some background noise here. Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Hour. Today is Friday, the 24th of May, and during the night, as I posted on Facebook last night, the Ethereum ETF got approved by the SEC. Okay, so we'll talk about that today, and we'll see what it means and what kind of expectations we can have from it. Okay, let me start sharing my screen straight away. Okay, so as usual, we start with the economic calendar. Where are you? Can you see my screen first of all? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So this week it wasn't a very news heavy week. There were a few things, mainly for for smaller countries, as I say, so to speak, and not so much from the US. Smaller economy, I should say, rather than countries. The main things that we've had during this week was the inflation figures from Canada, which were going again in the right direction, continuing the disinflation, that we've seen, and bringing inflation figures close to that, magic 2% that all central banks are aiming for. Then we had in New Zealand, the official cash rate that was kept at 5.5%, and some CPI figures from the UK as well. So this for all those of you from the UK, you know that now there has been an announcement that elections are going to happen finally in July, and this is probably it was telegraphed in a way, because the day before the release, the Chancellor of the Exchequer basically booked all these meetings, and almost was going into like a victory parade, with all the news agencies, because the inflation now is very close to, again, to the 2% mark. Remember that a few months ago the UK was still at 10% inflation. Now, it's still, the reading was a little bit above the expectation at 2.1, so it's read at 2.3%. But also to be considered that the core CPI is still running at close to 4%. So we're not quite there yet, but obviously they are pounding the airwaves with their success in bringing inflation down, and that's the reason, because the only card they got to play at the moment is like, it's this. So they declared the elections on the wave of these economic news. Also on Wednesday we had the monetary committee minutes that were released. Nothing new again from there. Still talking, what it said is I was still talking about the inflation being a little bit more stubborn than they thought, and that they might need to keep the the restrictive policy going for a little while longer. And the rest of the week, really yesterday we just had some manufacturing figures both from Europe, the UK and the US. Again, nothing too impactful. And there's nothing much today. We already had the retail sales in the UK, which again show a different picture. Yes, inflation is coming down, but everybody's feeling the pinch, and they're spending less money in the shops. So the inflation retail sales have actually gone down 2.3% in the UK. And today we have this, just a survey, this consumer sentiment that will be released later on, but nothing major, as you can see throughout the week that has been announced for next week. At the moment, the Bank of Japan, everybody is paying attention to whenever there are news coming from Japan, because seeing how they are going to handle this continued weakness of their economy that has brought the yen back to levels that we hadn't seen from the 1990s. So any change in their attitude, the way they're going about things, whether they're going to raise interest rates or not, which at the moment it doesn't look like the economy can actually support higher interest rates, but at the same time, they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Expectations are the Japanese economy and maybe the yen will carry on weakening for another few months. Later on in the week, we got inflation from Australia and preliminary from Euro as well. And again, preliminary GDP figures from the US. And the important one, so the main announcement from the whole week, next week, is going to be this one here. Okay, core PCE price index. We were already talking about that last week. So this is it's one of the inflation measures, but it is the one that it's used by the Fed to then guide them in their interest rate decisions. So it is very important to make us understand if the conditions are right for the authorities to start lowering interest rates or not. So and remember before, the two main things that are important right now from that point of view are inflation and jobs. Okay, jobs. We have the releases or the job numbers here every Thursday, every week, and then once a month we have we have the NFP, the non-farm payrolls, and this will be the week after. Okay, so it will be on the 7th of June. So in the next couple of weeks, I would say those are the main things that we're looking for. But also the week after next, we are going to have the rate statements as well. So announcements, from the actual rate carousel starts again. So we'll have Canada, we'll have the euro, and Wednesday. The US is the week after. So we start, again, the monthly interest rate decisions from central banks. But that's, we're going a little bit far in the future. Okay, so for next week, nothing major, unless we get to Friday, and so big repositioning of major investment relevant tradable products. So it could be the indexes, it could be precious metals, it could be cryptocurrency as well. Might happen on Friday. Okay, and this is the reason why it would happen on Friday. Okay, having done this, let's have a look at, I said the ETFs have been approved last night. It doesn't mean that they are ready to trade at the moment. So where is this? So these are the Ethereum ETFs. As I told you before, when one gets approved, then all of them get approved at once, because the one thing that they cannot be seen to do is favor one provider of ETFs over another. So all the listings were approved at once. It doesn't mean, though, that they are ready to trade. So there is still some paperwork that needs to be done, which might take. So traditionally, this stage for between the approval and the actual trading could take up to 5 months. Expectations are that this will be expedited and probably be done in a couple of weeks. Okay, so we could start seeing the ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, on the market, ready for investment around mid-June or even a little earlier. Okay, but until then, at the moment, it just the effects that we've seen in the markets, it's just being rumor and now expectations, but no volumes have actually gone into Ethereum ETFs because they're still not available to trade. Also, we actually don't have an article to show you, but it's something that was also launched this week. There are in London, on the London Stock Exchange, there will be Bitcoin and Ethereum investment products for the first time. So there will be similar. So they're not ETF, they're ETNs, but there's a similar thing available on the London Stock Exchange as well. The difference is that where these ETFs are open to the general public, the London products are for wholesale only. So you can't, as an individual investors, you can buy them directly, but you need to go through an institution to be able to to get access to that. So investment houses, investment companies have got these products available, but you as an individual do not. Now, so let's see what what has been the effect of this on the, first of all, on the broad market, crypto market. So we'll see. This is the daily chart of Bitcoin. So not really. We haven't seen anything in the past in the past 2 or 3 days. Actually, the prices have come down, if anything, from testing these levels up here, and we'll talk about this in a second, why price reversed at this point, and why price actually accelerated from this point. So there are reasons. These things that don't just happen. Okay, so there are demand and supply at play here, and the reason why we saw this fast movement again on Monday, it's got a lot to do with the reading the charts, and this level here where I've drawn this red line, it's where all the people that were short on Bitcoin, or at least a lot of the people that in a way were defending, and beyond this level it then triggered liquidations. Okay, so that either hit traders stop loss levels if they trade with stop loss, or it liquidated their account if they trade without it, because then they wouldn't have had enough money to keep the position open, and so the Binance or any other exchange that those funds would have been on actually sold their position. What does this mean? If you are short and they close your account down, so they liquidate you, or if it hits the stop loss, when you are short, a stop loss is nothing else than a market buy order. So that means, let's say that you put your stop loss here at 67,700, okay, and price goes beyond it, the automated trading machines at Binance, at Kraken, at Coinbase will simply read that as, okay, buy Bitcoin at any price. Okay, and this is why we see these accelerated moves. Okay, because prices are going up as well, because you need some momentum to go beyond these levels that are still being defended by sellers. And once that is broken, you have the initial momentum plus the extra momentum of the liquidation that pushes the prices up. Now, where that is likely to stop is where there is a new dams in place, and those dams were placed at around $72,000, and this is why we see a reaction at those levels and push back to where we are now. So we're going back into another area now of demand, where price, if it does what we expect it to do, is expected to find the bottom, turn around, and then we'll see the question about the next leg. What I see at the moment is that this is still the level to break through. 72,000 is where the liquidation heat map is pointing us to. And beyond that, it really opened the floodgates to price discovery, to breaking then a new all-time high and seeing, how far we can get in the next leg, something similar to what we are seeing in this move here. So if that move can happen in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is just over 2 weeks, to grow from 50,000 to 70, almost 74. Okay, so almost a 50% move in a couple of weeks. Okay, if we have to project this and seeing where could we get to if that move was repeated, you can see that why people are talking at levels between 85 and 90,000. Okay, because depending on where the bottom is of the move that we will get now, this is likely, this kind of range. I mean, just so you can be precise, they're just estimations, but you might want to use some geometrical tools like the Fibonacci's, for example, and they point to similar figures. So the first, if you go from the bottom here, this first will point to around the 80,000 mark. Okay, if instead you calculate the move from where the breakout happens, so when price starts moving really fast, okay, which hasn't happened yet, so that would be from somewhere around here. So that the kind of the conservative estimates are around, for the next move, they're around 80,000. The more more risky estimates will point us towards the 90,000 mark. Okay, so somewhere I go in the middle, say between 80 and 90. Let's call it 85, and that would be my expectation. My expectation for the next move, when that happens. So again, it hasn't initiated yet, but we have pretty much broken all levels of supplies apart from this one. And so if you want to see what it looks like, and these are just figures for Binance, the ones I'm going to show you. So this is the liquidation heat map for Binance. Okay, and then other exchanges will have similar things in place. So it'll tell you where the orders are waiting. And as you can see at the moment, on the downside, there aren't that many orders. The ones the biggest concentration is about 65.5 at the moment. But on the sell side, there are quite a lot of orders at around 72,000. So once we shoot through that number of orders, and some of them were already been reduced by a few days ago when we got to around 72,000. Once we chew through this, there isn't much above to stop us, because there is no supply above that, apart from you can see here, this other green level here, this is the all-time high, pretty much. Above that, it's really just price discovery, okay, because we've never been at those levels before, and we'll see, that could get us to really levels that we can only imagine at the moment, because history hasn't been there already. So when that will happen, what do you think will happen? I mean, if you got all your friends, for example, you've been listening to crypto talks for a while now, so probably you have a crypto portfolio or you invested in crypto products. Once Bitcoin eventually gets up there, what we believe is going to happen, so Bitcoin in 6 figures, whatever you want to describe those 6 figures, if it's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, but we are going to get to the 6-figure mark. So this is what you're going to see. Okay, so people think, you are lucky to get to that point because you are the one that's holding this thing that's accumulated in value. But you have to go through all these hard times. So all the people that were told, all the banks and investing institutions that were rubbishing cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in the past, the bear market and all that, you've been through that. So this is kind of like one, experience, and two is emotional turmoil that you have to go through to get to this point here. It doesn't just happen overnight. Okay, so just think about it. And from another point of view, what I would like you to point your attention to is this thing here. So it's a little bit drier. It's not a drawing anymore. But these are what the family offices, so investment houses that hold the capital of the wealthiest families, what do they see as danger, I would say, in going up in the future? What kind of events do they consider as dangerous? Okay, so this is what they see in the next 12 months, and this is the next 5 years. So if you look at this column, okay, so major geopolitical conflict is the biggest danger to their investment portfolio. Climate change is the second one, and then the debt crisis it's the third one. Okay, now all three of these, and although you've heard a lot of rubbish about climate change, the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin is a proof of work and uses a lot of energy, all these three use cases can be improved by cryptocurrencies. These two, the geopolitical conflict and the debt crisis are obvious. The climate change is not as obvious, but it would be a big improvement, because one effect of of Bitcoin mining has been to actually use efficiently a lot of the energy generation, because obviously the miners don't want, they arrange their businesses to pay as little as they can for the energy. So a lot of now mining operations are very close to where the energy is generated, and they have managed their business so that they use the energy when it's not needed elsewhere. So this basically renders the energy generation process more efficient, okay, and they use what wouldn't be used by other use cases anyway. So although they use a lot of energy, the energy, when they use it, is not needed elsewhere. So it's an improvement on the energy generation process, and it basically brings capital to energy generation, because now they've got more customers, in a way. So if you see it that way, and so there can be more investment into energy generation. But energy is one of it's difficult thing, because it's difficult to store, and it is used mainly at certain peaks, so that the maximum capacity must be available at peak time. But the low peaks, the energy is still there, because they can't just turn on and off these this power generating equipment at will. So there is a lot of energy that goes wasted, because it's still being generated to cater for when the peaks are needed. But during low energy usage, basically all this energy is wasted. Now, cryptocurrency is using that excess energy to mine the proof of work coins. The most famous of which is Bitcoin. Now, excuse me. Now let's go and have a look. So that was Bitcoin, and where we are expecting, what could we expecting to happen. I kind of bring to your attention that this drop in price from the all-time high has only been about 20%. So although it looks like a tragedy that for 2 months we haven't actually had a new all-time high, but this is to be expected after you see how far we come from 15,000 to almost 75. You let me know if you have any investment from November of 2022 that has grown 5 times in price, almost without any serious pullback, because of what we've seen, pullbacks have been 20, 25, maybe 30% a couple of times, but it's been a, kind of like one directional a good investment so far. And this, although these, these lines look bigger, it's because the numbers are bigger. Okay, but if when you go and measure them, you go and measure the pullback, at the most we've gone down 23%, but other cases, this was 21% as well. In the past though, even during the bull cycle, these are like 30% move that we saw in 2020, 2021. Even this one. This is a 26% move, and if we go back to, even the previous bull cycle of 2017, so you can see some serious pullbacks there, even if they don't look that big. That's a 26% pullback, just that little box down there. Just that the numbers are so much smaller that they don't look like a lot. 26% again. 28%. So drops of around 30% are quite normal in Bitcoin. Obviously, going ahead as the asset matures, these are going to get, obviously the volatility is going to get smaller. So what we've seen in the latest, period of growth, those pullbacks have become generally smaller in the kind of around 20% range, roughly. Now this is Bitcoin. Let's go and have a look at Ethereum. So you see what happened. This is when the rumor came out, okay, on Monday, that the Ethereum ETFs could be approved by the end of the week. Okay, so this has been a lot more dramatic to check on Ethereum than it has been for Bitcoin. So we've seen this week a 30% move in Ethereum in a week. I mean, this is huge. Okay, it's huge. Obviously, we are pulled back since then. We've gone from, I would say, the reason why I've got these things in the charts is to show you that these things don't just turn around, arbitrarily. So this is a daily level of supply. This is why I've got it marked on the chart. Not because you want to actually short Ethereum, but it provides you with a target. If you are going long, I'll tell you where is price likely to bounce back down, and this is the most likely point. Okay, so this is why we've got these marked in the chart. Now, what happens when there are news releases like these? What they always say is kind of like buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay, so that's the rumor, which brought us a 30% price increase, and what happens since the news were released, price actually drops down. Okay, because obviously when you think about it, that means that there was a lot of the people that caused these price to go up, are sitting now on a 20+% gain within 2 or 3 days. You'll be silly not to realize that gain, and put the money in your bank. Okay, and then you can go again. Once you've if you said you've taken money, profit up here, what's stopping you from buying again, even not down here, but here when price starts turning around, you can then buy again at a lower price and then take profit again at a higher level. So this is at the moment what's happening, and there will be some retracement. If at the moment you ask me, at which price do you want to be long on Ethereum? Yes, I do, because obviously now what's happening yesterday is that we have the green flag for Ethereum becoming another institutional investable product. Okay, so if you want to be long, just looking at the charts, I mean, the first point where I would even think about going long would be down here. So I don't know if we going to revisit this level, because about 3,150 to 3,050. but that would be, at the moment there's no reason here, during this level where I would want to go long, So let me go in, and I wanted to show you something. Okay, we always talk about price, and because obviously we kind of like all investors, and we're looking at putting our assets where they're going to grow the fastest possible rate, and with the least possible amount of risk. But it's important when you're talking about cryptocurrency, especially now that are going to start being more widely adopted. Now we are teetering on around 5% of the world population that has at least used cryptocurrency, if even just the once. So we're still at a very, very early stage. We're still about the 5% level. As we then get to the 10%, 15%, 20% mark, obviously the numbers get so much bigger. But the only way we're going to get there is by not using this, not just an investment, just looking at charts like we're doing right now, but look at real use cases. Okay, and this is why sometimes you're thinking about, talking about these names. Oh, it's, Solana looks great, or Ethereum looks good, or Cardano does. You need to see exactly what it is that these projects will be used for, and how will they be able to deliver those use cases. So this is an advert from the Algorand Foundation that I wanted to show you. Okay, a little 1 minute video, so it won't take too long. But I'll be interested to see what you guys think about this. Let me know if you can just put your fingers up if you can hear the volume. Okay.
Hey, morning. Hello.
Hey. You guys take Bitcoin, right?
Sure do.
Sorry, can you hear the sound? Yeah, fantastic.
I'm gonna be paying with Ethereum, if that's okay?
Okay, yep, no problems.
Good thing I'm paying with Solana.
You can go ahead and tap.
And there we go.
Oh, it failed. Try it again. Whoa, hold up there, Smart. It looks like it's gonna be another 27 minutes before this transaction clears.
What? Sorry, $112. I have like 3 things.
Ethereum, they got that peak hour gas thing.
There you go.
Maybe one more time. What are you gonna do? Just wait right here, without the bag, without the bag.
I think it's gonna work this time.
Nope. Should have stopped with Algorand.
How do I get in that line?
Okay, I don't know if that puts things into perspective for you, but this is the reality. The reality that we've all seen during the past few years. Just in the previous, for example, obviously, what he was referring there to the Ethereum, more than $100 fees that we saw during the last cycle when Ethereum was pretty much working at a maximum capacity, and we had these launches of NFTs that attracted a lot of attention. But it's not far from reality, because there are projects like Cardano, Algorand, and other blockchains. They are working behind the scenes, so they're not in the news every week, but they're working behind the scenes for exactly that kind of use case, where it's not just a token that you buy because you want to make money, but it's something that you use instead of using the dollar, instead of using cash, and gives you some specific results that you want to use it for. So at the moment, obviously, we couldn't have something that doesn't give instant transactions if you are using crypto at the point of sale, because obviously its speed, it's very important, like it was showing that case. You couldn't use a token that is not secure if you are going to use it to, to store your value and to use for your purchases. So there are all these considerations that needs to come into the equation, where we're thinking of who is going to provide the, at the end of the day, products, because I hope that I don't say anything controversial, but money is a product. Okay, money is a product that you buy because it gives you a certain use case. Okay, so it's not something that is created by the governments in history. It's just a more recent use of money. But money is a product that you buy to exchange your excess time for purchasing power. Okay, because this is how you generate value, is by through what you do, what you grow, what you work, employing your time a certain thing, and you only have something left if you have more than you need to live, to survive. And then there is kind of like a time preference to be used, saying, well, I've got more than I need. Do I use this amount of accumulated value to enjoy right now, or do I put it away so that I can enjoy my future more? Okay, so that's what money represents at the end of the day. Okay, so all these use cases are very important then in when you decide what is best to keep value over time and what is best to use for your transactions. Okay, so having said that, let's look at a few more things. Particularly, let's have a look at the ETFs and recent moves, recent changes in the flows in and out of the ETFs. So as you can see, these past couple of weeks, we have seen a change in the, so you can see the ETF inflows that for a while had been mainly from kind of mid March, pretty much had stayed at the same level. The past couple of weeks, we started seeing inflows again. Okay, where before we had a couple of days of flows, a couple of days of inflows, and so on. Our inflows, outflows pretty much balance each other, and we were stuck at that 12 billion dollars roughly of flows into the Bitcoin ETFs. We are now started creeping up again, and we have created a new high. I'll put it here on the US dollars rather than Bitcoin. So now we have broken through the 13 billion level, and that number is climbing again. The one thing that's interesting is that now we have seen money started to flow back as well into the Grayscale ETFs, and it looks like, I mean, if you look at this now, pretty much Grayscale and BlackRock are almost at the same level. Okay, we started at Grayscale having more than 600,000 Bitcoin in their fund, and now they lost already half of their fund, and they're the same level of BlackRock. I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but can you see there has some sort of agreement had been put in place to say, well, you're going to let flows out of your fund until something happens. Okay, and that's something, it looks very close to be happening. When they're now below the 50% mark of coins that they've lost, and the biggest competitor has now caught up, and pretty much in a few days will probably have the same number of Bitcoin. They are in Grayscale. The one thing though that is to be noted is that the outflows have pretty much ended in Grayscale, and those were most of the outflows that we've had from the beginning until now. So if nobody is selling, then obviously the new money that is coming in will have an effect on the price of Bitcoin. And this is why we're seeing, if you see here from the 13th of May, 100, 300, 300, 200, 200, 300, 150, 100. This is like 100 million. 100 is $1 million. Okay, so we had around $2 billion come in over the past couple of weeks. And this is instead in Bitcoin terms. Okay, so always keep an eye on this number. 237 Bitcoin. So now we have moved beyond 1% level. There have been accumulated 1% level of the total number of Bitcoin that will ever be created. So remember 21 million. So but then the actual number of Bitcoin in circulation are a lot lower than that. We still haven't got to the 20 million mark of coins being created, and a lot of those 20 million coins are in a way lost forever in from the early days of mining, and in places that have been lost, where hard drives have been destroyed and so far. So the actual number of circulation is a lot lower. So we can safely say that this number represents at least 2% of the Bitcoins in circulation. Probably a lot more than that. There's no way you're telling exactly what percentage it represents because we don't know exactly what that number is. And the other thing is that now we've had a couple of weeks of trading as well on the Hong Kong ETF. Now the numbers are very small here. The size of the Hong Kong market is barely less than 0.5% of the American market. Okay, and we're looking at obviously there have been some inflows that have been very minimal compared to the US market. If we see them in US dollars, we're talking about $231 million since the end of April. Okay, but you can see the flows haven't been particularly strong at any one time. And we're talking about 6 million the last trading day. Yesterday it was like 1.7, 1.8, and I haven't been great, because at the moment this is just the Hong Kong market that can invest in it. China can't buy this product, but there are talks about breaking that barrier, and if that does, then we'll see these numbers go up considerably. At the moment, as you can see here, apart from the money that came in at the beginning, it's been pretty much nondescript, the activity since then. Okay, so it's just they're all little bits of the Ethereum place. Now this is the ETFs. Now soon we'll start seeing numbers as well for the London products, and and I know there are some funds in Switzerland and in Sweden as well, but obviously they are a lot smaller than what we report here. Now, in terms of buying coins, which coins you hold or which coins will be used in the past, a lot of talk and interest has been this year on meme coins. So I just want to show you the most successful meme coin this year has been Pepe. The most memeable meme coin in existence. The dogs have had their day. It's time for Pepe to take reign. Okay, so why should you or shouldn't you buy Pepe coin or any other coin or any other meme coin? And so when you start looking into it, it's kind of like, just ask yourself, why am I buying this stuff? Why am I buying this stuff? Why should I hold it? And when you look at this, this token is simply paying homage to a meme we all love and recognize. Pepe is a meme coin with no intrinsic value or expectation of financial return. There is no formal team or roadmap. The coin is completely useless and for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so if you are thinking of investing on any, so look at the image as well, it's quite funny, but if you are thinking that these are investable products, then think again. Okay, so you can trade them if you want, if you're interested in playing the game of these things, but they've got no intrinsic value itself. The only value that you get in projects like Dogecoin, in projects like Shiba Inu, is simply that they have attracted such a large community that some people are interested in tapping into that community. So they give incentives to the community members then to use it with them. at the end of the day, any retailer or anybody that accepts these sort of coins, they don't accept them because they want to hold these coins. The second they receive them, they sell them and convert them to the local currency. So they don't really care, what you use, as long as you spend the money with them and not with somebody else. So that's the only thing that can make these coins of any value is the community that they attract, and the fact that this represents for somebody a buying pool that they would like to tap into. As simple as that. There's no reason to invest into the projects because the project doesn't exist really. Okay, let me see. So now other things. So although the ETFs were approved at the SEC, there's still some controversy in the sense that the SEC hasn't still classified Ethereum as either a commodity or a security. I mean, it beggars belief that there are about 5,000 employees they have, and I don't know how many years that we've been discussing about Ethereum. They still haven't come out with the description or definition of Ethereum. Okay, and that's their job, to define assets as security or non-security. So what is at the moment going through the US Parliament is kind of a new legislation for cryptocurrency that could shift the overseeing power from the SEC, or at least for part of the overseeing power, to the Commodity Futures and Trading Commission at the CFTC. That will make a lot more sense, because if we are then saying that Bitcoin, at least Bitcoin is being described as a commodity, if Ethereum is a commodity as well, then it should be looked after by the relevant commission, and that can be, again, could see another shift in that direction if we have the classification of Ethereum as well as a commodity. Then it will open also the door to other smart contract projects to be classified as commodities as well. That would change the way that they are treated in terms of reporting, in terms of tax treatment and other things. Now, we keep reporting about reasons for using cryptocurrency, and the main, for how I see it, as I read this, I read that approval of the Ethereum ETF, which is astounding in the sense that there is an about face of the SEC of 180 degrees. Okay, there's something that has never been seen before. So it is obviously a political decision. Why is this a political decision? And this is why. Okay, so Donald Trump has come out as, where before in the previous election, you're always saying, "Oh, the US dollar is king." The crypto is not to compete against this. Is now shifted to a neutral position about crypto, and he's actually positioned himself as, "I am the crypto-friendly candidate. They are the crypto haters. We are crypto-friendly." Okay, so the move that we're seeing right now is pretty much a move by President Biden to counteract that move. I would say, well, I'm crypto-friendly too. Look, I've just approved the Ethereum ETF. We're not against crypto. We protect you, the consumer, and so on. So the most important thing for me that comes out of all this is not the Ethereum ETF approval, or that, I couldn't care less that Donald Trump accepts donations in cryptocurrency. But the fact that we are talking about this, these things are being reported, it means that now cryptocurrencies are relevant. It's not something that can be avoided and just, push in a corner and just let's pretend it doesn't exist. The voters are interested, and some voters will vote according to who they see, more likely to be crypto friendly. Okay, so this is why all this is going on right now, and it bides well for considering cryptocurrency as like an institutional level asset class that is now here to stay. So if you still were wondering, will this be almost like go to nothing once the CBDCs are approved, now this should be your answer, thinking, well, not likely. Not likely, because there will still be certain things that are precious to people that wouldn't make them feel comfortable by using a CBDC. Okay, because that will be give one of our fundamental rights, the right to privacy, away to our government. Okay, and these are rights that have been fought over for for generations. What other things can I show you? So we still have a few more days to see if President Biden will let this decision by the Senate to basically overrule a SEC Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121. Okay, this is one. The bill is called the whatever it is, Resolution 109. It's now on the president's desk. He can either sign it and confirm the Senate decision. He can veto it and basically throw it away and side with the SEC, or he can do nothing. And if he does nothing, he doesn't sign it, but he lets the time elapse, then the Senate decision will stand as well. So that really depends on how he wants to be seen. So all these, what he will do about this, does he want to be seen as, crypto friendly? Does he want to see as kind of like a hardliner against crypto? And so it's more than just a decision about this particular resolution. It's more how does President Biden want to be portrayed in the news. Other things that are interesting to see is now the volume of Bitcoin trading volume is now back at 2022 levels. Okay, again, this is extra. So the interest in these asset class in general. So whether the volume is up or down, it doesn't really matter. It means that there are more people trading this thing. So obviously these numbers, these volumes are needed then to actually create something significant on the price charts. So the higher the volume, the more likelihood it is that when we see a move, that move will be significant. And we're now getting to those levels again. That's it's not really, it's a news, there's no news. So basically I just wanted to bring it to your attention because BlackRock's Bitcoin ETFs has been by far the most successful. So the same thing is likely to happen with the Ethereum ETF. So they have registered now the ticker for although it's not tradable yet, but it's the BlackRock ETFs, Ethereum ETF is going to be called ETHA. Okay, and like the one the Bitcoin ETFs is called the IBIT. So this is probably the one that you're going to see once these things are tradable. You want to see again taking the biggest share of the inflows. Okay, and these are, you can see here there are other ETFs there that are available. In terms of use cases, this is probably the most interesting news that I could pick up for this week. So this relates to, so Dfinity is the entity behind the Internet Computer Project, ICP. And then now they've launched this, this API solution to connect the ICP network to different blockchains. So now they've got with this API solution that allows ICP smart contracts to read and write on any Ethereum virtual machine compatible chain. When I say, if you don't know what that means, Ethereum is one blockchain. The technology the Ethereum is based on, to write smart contract is this Ethereum virtual machine. Now, many blockchains are based on this technology. Okay, so just to tell a couple, for example, Avalanche, Phantom. These are Ethereum virtual machine blockchains. Okay, so that then allows internet computer to write to these networks as well, and will soon also support the Bitcoin blockchain, and will soon also be able to support the Solana blockchain. Okay, so this can write on some smart contracts that will allow things like, if this happens to in Ethereum, then that action will be taken on the Bitcoin blockchain, and so on. So it can create smart contracts. They are cross-chain. Okay, so it really multi-chain interoperability. Okay, so this is kind of like quite a big thing, and it also allowed the deployment of the version of USDC that will be used on the internet computer network. So it will be called where is this, CK USDC. Okay, which will be pegged to the USDC stablecoin. So what this creates as well is that allows these interactions without using what has been the most vulnerable part of the blockchain project, which are bridges and wrap tokens. So we'll be able to do this, be able to use tokens from different blockchains without needing to have bridges in place. Okay, so these are the little things that maybe get lost in the news that nobody reads, but those are the little technological improvements that can make a difference at the use case level, and will make the eventual new users that come on board, will make it easier for people to use some of these things that we saw before. Because at the end of the day, the way that you or anybody else will use most of these products is with our phone. Okay, so we'll make that process of going shopping and being able to use whatever you want to use for paying, like we were seeing in that video, in the adverts for Algorand, seamless. So you at the same thing that now, I know a lot of you will probably have your credit cards on the phone, and you can select on your phone which credit card you want to use when you go and pay. Similar thing will be with cryptocurrencies. You might have, a dozen wallets, with all different cryptocurrencies on there, and they'll all be on your phone, and then you just select which one you want to pay with. You get to the point of sale, and you just tap your phone, and there you go. So we are actually I managed to finish almost the hour. So let me stop share and see, have we got any questions? Anybody that has been I've got something to ask about anything that I talked about, or anything else?
I have a quick one, Luca. Thanks for mentioning Pepe and the meme coins. And I was just trying to understand it, because I don't understand the value of meme coins, but it's Dogecoin is worth 23 billion, which is more than Cardano. I mean, I don't understand it, which, Cardano's got all the utility, and, Dogecoin's worth, 50% more than it. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, but when you think about it, so this is the thing that doesn't make sense. Okay, so Dogecoin, when it was created, all at once they had like 100 billion tokens were created. Okay, after that, every year they mint an extra 5 billion tokens. So when you look at the tokenomics, first of all, what is behind this? And when it was created, the creators themselves said, look, this is a joke. It's just being created as a joke, and there is no development in this network. So the only thing has been for fun, and then more recently people have bought it because they thought they could make money because it was cheap. And again, if you remember, in 2021-22, we had the the GameStop the GameStop saga, and so there were a lot of things that were like the WAGMI scenarios. We're all gonna make it. So basically going in a way pumping products that didn't have any any meaning, just to make money. So everybody say, okay, let's all buy Dogecoin because it's 2 cents now. We can take it to 6 cents and make a lot of money or something like this. But that's the only reason behind it. There's no value in itself in the coin or in the project. But if at the end of the day everything comes from demand and supply, so if people want to buy something, and the more people want to buy, the people that want to sell, the price goes up. So price and utility don't really go together. Okay, and there are so many projects, that they are way overpriced. If you look at how they can generate, any value.
Okay, so you're saying just stay out of them, basically, unless you just want to.
Yeah, so it's something that sometimes I use some of these coins for short-term trading, and that's the only thing I will not. Obviously, I don't have them in my portfolio because I don't see them as an investment product.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you can't interact with them if you want to. For me, mainly, I take the opportunities when they are way overpriced, and I think I can short them. That's my favorite interaction with these things.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Luca, if Biden sides with the SEC, what happens then?
So that resolution that he could veto was about the SEC saying that any custodian would have to consider the cryptocurrency that is custodying for its customers as a liability. Okay, that means that on the other side of the balance sheet, they would have to have some assets to balance that with. Okay, so that would make it pretty much impossible for any US institution to hold Bitcoin for customers. Okay, or any other cryptocurrencies, because that would mean that if they hold 1 billion worth of Bitcoin, they have to have 1 billion in cash on the balance sheet to be able to do that. Okay, which will make it practically impossible for this to happen. And that's why this is so important, because they are and also the other thing is that the SEC, it's a regulative agency. They're trying almost like to legislate by these things that it's not part of their jobs to do. They need to apply the law. They don't need to make the law. That's what Parliament is there for. The House of Representatives, the House of Senate is there to make the laws, and then the agencies are there to apply it. So that's what could happen. But if it got rejected, that is possibly then they will go again and come at it from a different direction, because there is now this kind of like war almost going on between the SEC and the legislative powers that I don't think is going to end. But it's not very likely that the president will veto it, especially after the ETF, the Ethereum ETF approval. So we'll see. So by next Friday we should know, and then we can comment on it. But this what would happen. It will stop again another American industry that is developing very nicely at the moment. Most of the trading is going on during US market hours, by the way, in crypto. So they are still the biggest market by far. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no other questions, we will stop the call here. Jonathan, can you please again post the link to your session? Jonathan runs a session on Cardano every week, and it starts pretty much at the end of this one, and by 9:30 at the latest, and where he talks about all things Cardano. And also, if you want to learn to not just talk about cryptocurrency but actually use them and know how to do stuff, then he's the man. Yeah, and we're gonna do next month. I mean, this past few weeks have been extremely busy, but next month, Jonathan, we'll do a more practical session after the one on Cardano we did last time, so we can actually show people how to do some of these interactions, and dive in a little bit deeper. Okay, so for now, I would say nothing news. No funds are flowing into Ethereum yet from the ETFs, but the rumor is out there. So there will be some positioning going on in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll see the effect if there is any, of the ETFs when they start trading. Okay, for now, I wish you all a fantastic weekend. If you're in the UK, we finally seem that we'll be getting a nice weekend with some sunshine. So enjoy, use sunscreen, and I will see you next weekend. All right, goodbye everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks, Luca.
Thank you. Bye.